Black Mamba, good day, my brother.
Man.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, man.
Good to see
I'm
you.
good.
We are here today at the Undefeated in LA, where they are releasing a special colorway of your first release with Nike.
Yeah.
The Nike Zoom Kobe 1 Pro Tro.
Yeah.
You smiling just hearing that word. Because you basically invented it. Explain what Pro Tro means and why you and Nike decided to re-release this model.
Well, I mean, the retro business is such a big business, right? We all have that kind of feeling of nostalgia of bringing back the old, right? But my business is built on innovation, and so I didn't want to compromise that. So how do you pay attention to what was without compromising what should be? And so that's why I just took performance and retro and just combined those things to create Pro-Tro. So it's just taking the old and building those with the technology that we have available today without changing the aesthetic of it.
You're also introducing us to makers of the game here today with your fine shoe, the camo.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you should be proud of this. What does makers of the game mean to you?
Well, it means setting the standard, or setting the trend for what culture is or will be. I mean, that's, sports has always kind of been at the forefront of that. And what you see nowadays is really a mixture of sports and entertainment and how those two things intertwine and move culture forward.
I heard a story. It didn't make me happy. It almost made me cry.
What happened?
That you wore this shoe on a night that you scored 81 points in a basketball game.
That's true.
I happened to be present that night. You probably didn't see me because I was looking at the back of your name and number all night. So how special was that night, and did that have something to do with you wanting to release this shoe, re-release this shoe in particular?
Well, yeah, I mean, that night was very special, and the fact that I was playing in the one, makes that shoe have added significance. I think the shoe in and of itself, the way it was built with the stitching going around the swoosh, we wanted to have a feeling of it being handmade, because I felt like I was building my game anew, and which then led to 81 and all the other games that I had, because I was in the gym really, really working hard. And so the shoe has special significance to me because of that, because of the stitching, because of kind of building everything from scratch. And then you throw the 81 in there, it puts it over the top.
You're one of those personalities and athletes. Now we see the destination, but sometimes people don't understand the journey. And before you actually score 81 points in a basketball game, you were breaking all types of records, 40-point games, 60-point games in 3 quarters. So talk about what led up to the big monster 81-point game.
Well, it was 1,000 makes a day in the summertime, and going through things just as I would during the game. So I knew exactly where my positions were within the triangle and where the shots would be coming from. So everything that I did throughout the course of my training was literally simulating that. So it was all game shots. So when it came in the game, things were just automatic because I'd put my body through it before. Sometimes you get in the gym and you work out and you work on ball handling, you work on shooting, but none of it's really within a structure of what you will be doing in the game. Mm-hmm. For me, it wasn't like that. It was literally carbon copy of what I'd be doing. So by the time a season came around, it was all just muscle memory.
Speaking of carbon copies, now when I'm watching certain players in the NBA speaking to microphones, they sound just like you. Kyrie Irving comes to mind, and I absolutely love it. And one of the things that people overlook in your career high points game is that you didn't show any emotion. You didn't chest thump. You didn't point to the crowd. Like, you stayed in the zone. And I think what ends up happening to young people, they make a good play, $1 million move and a $5 shot.
Right.
Just talk about staying in that zone and how you were able to maintain that. Because
it's
once
tough.
I start having 40, I'm like this. I never get to 50 or 60. So how do you maintain that level of discipline?
It's hard, man. There's times where you come out of it, and even myself, when I'd come out of it, I'd be aware of bringing myself right back, right? Because sometimes you have those emotional outbursts, right? But then you got to find that center again, because the next play is imminent. You're here, right? So the most important thing is really staying in the moment and staying present. I mean, that's all the zone is. Whether it's offensive and being in the zone or defensive being in the zone, what that really means is that you're simply here in the present, and the only thing that matters is what's right in front of you. And the trick is, how do you do that? If
Irvin Magic Johnson, who I affectionately call a Hall of Fame mogul, reached out to you to help them recruit free agents, because this is a big summer for your Lakers. You got 2 max cap spots open. You got some young talent. You're trying to get back to the championship level. What's your availability in helping the Lakers recruit free agents?
Recruit free agents. I mean, what does that even entail? Calling someone? I mean, take them out to dinner.
A little
or something?
babysitting, a little begging.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I know.
Coddling. Things all you love to do.
Yeah, I'm such a coddler. You know what I mean? I love that.
Like, look at these rings.
That's right
look
up
at
my
those
alley.
banners.
Yeah, that's right up my alley. You know, the thing about this franchise is that you shouldn't need recruiting to come here. Right? It takes a special person to want to play for this franchise and take the pressure that comes along with playing for this franchise. The pressure of following Magic's footsteps and myself and like the dynasty that we've had. It takes a special person to do that. And if I need to convince you to come here to carry that legacy forward, you ain't the one to be here.
Now, we had this conversation about a certain player when he got traded here that will remain nameless. And at a time where the franchise, I think, kind of got out of character and tried to recruit this player to stay, so much so that there were billboards.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see how you felt, because I know you had a level of disgust based on what you just said.
Well, honestly, I didn't really give two craps about that, to be honest with you. Like, it didn't really matter to me. The most important thing to me was whether or not the player wanted to be here himself, right? And then when you're here, the most important thing is winning championships. I don't care about anything else. It's winning championships. We don't have to like each other, but you will show up to practice every day, play hard. You will focus and commit to winning. And, you know, if that's the case, then we'll be just fine. Yeah.
And
but all the
not,
hoopla stuff, if not, you can go someplace else. Yeah, that's fine too. I mean, it's a certain personality that comes along with it. I mean, it's a brand thing. You know, Lakers stand for excellence and stand for winning. We don't hang division banners. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that. You know, you don't retire everyone's jersey, you retire Hall of Fame jerseys. You know what I mean? So, you know, if the people that are here need to be able to live to that standard and hold themselves to that standard, which in turn then gives you the ability to hold everybody else to that same standard. If you can't do that, you can't be here.
Right, no doubt. Our fine network is launching a television program with you.
Yeah.
Called Detail.
Yeah.
You're all over the place with your projects. Can you explain to us what this one is going to be about?
Yeah, Detail's a little different. So, like, you know, with the NBNs, it was really important for me to create something that the family can enjoy. You know, how do you take high-level content, basketball content, and strip it down to a place that's fun, entertaining, and something that, you know, families together can watch and pull something from. Detail's a little different. Detail is not for everyone. Right? It's actually not for fans. It's for basketball players. It's for us. It's for the elite of the elite. And I'm just taking the experience that I had in watching film, right? So if I'm DeMar DeRozan, I'm going to be watching and studying that game that was just played with the understanding that I am DeMar. So if I'm DeMar, how would I be breaking down this game film right now? What am I looking at? What am I seeing? And that is the core of the entire show.
How do you feel that the All-Star Game has translated from the biggest, I guess, rec basketball game to gone to another level where it's literally almost 200 points being scored? No real competition.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, as a player for me, it made it easy to win them, to be honest with you. I mean,
the West had a dominating run for a while.
Yeah, I think the last time I remember losing that I played, I was healthy, was the All-Star game in Washington. And I hadn't lost since. I mean, me and CP used to joke about it all the time. Every time we played together in the All-Star game, we never lost, undefeated. But beyond that, aside from just the competitive standpoint, because in the fourth quarter games get competitive all the time, you know, the piece that I did in Game of Stars was really about how to take the All-Star game and learn something from your competitors. You know, how do you get some sort of competitive advantage that you may be able to use later on in the season, right? So it's not just taking away moments and just kind of throwing them away or discarding them, but it's using all the information. I mean, it's like, you know, making sure you're always observing and learning and figuring out ways to be better and to win a championship, and never forgetting that or losing sight of that. That's really the core of the piece.
What challenges have you come across in your post-retirement life?
Well, you know, the biggest challenge was, you can't write. You know, you don't know how to write.
I thought I was going to do that when I did a book. Like, yeah, I hired somebody to write the book. Like, oh, I got to tell them everything about me.
Yeah, you know, it's the idea that, you know, I can't write or produce or direct. You know, it's the whole thing. Like when you do something for the majority of your life, people associate you with that.
Just shut up and be a jock.
Yeah,
we don't care about your
just,
political
that's what you
opinion.
do. We don't want to hear anything from
Right.
you know, sort of thing. You can only do one thing, sort of thing. And that's the challenge. And so the nomination that we've been fortunate enough to receive has kind of altered that conversation. That's the one where it's, oh wait, no, you can write and you can, you know, produce something that is of serious quality. So it's altered that conversation.
Muse Cage Basketball Network recently released a new piece entitled "The Game of Stars," focusing on the All-Star games. How serious did you take the All-Star game?
Well, extremely serious. I mean, it's you know, it's a great opportunity for me to learn. You know, I remember my last All-Star game. We're in the locker room, and Popovich, before the game, has a brilliant idea of letting each player diagram plays in a timeout. Right? And all the guys are like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, great. And I'm sitting there like, we're out of the play. We ain't making no playoffs at that point. It's my last year, right? So I really don't even, you know. So I said, you know, Pop, if I was competing with you guys for the playoffs, I'd tell you that that's a horrible idea, and I'm not doing that at all. I want to see you draw every play and every single time out because I want to see what you run.
Absolutely.
As opposed to you seeing what I'm thinking in my head and
Yes,
what I'm
indeed.
drawing up, you know, that's not happening. And he just started laughing.
That's awesome.
Started laughing. He gets it.
Steve Kerr just recently did that in the huddle.
Yeah.
Allow a couple of players to draw up plays, and some people felt like it was a disrespect to the opponent. Your thoughts?
What the hell do I care? I mean, it's not. Why should anybody care? I mean, everybody is entitled to an opinion, man. You know, at the end of the day, guys got to play and compete. So, I think it's more disrespectful that they beat them like a drum, personally.
That they're perpetual lottery team?
Yeah, it shouldn't be worried about that sort of stuff, right? But if you do feel disrespected, that's cool. You're in your right to do that. But you know, use that as motivation. Come back and beat them the next time.
Oh, before I let you get out of here, I got to ask one important NBA question.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win the title this season?
Man, who the hell knows, man? It looks like Golden State, but you know, who knows? I mean, you can always be one injury away from something. You never know what may happen. I mean, it seems like the playoffs are right around the corner, but the reality is the more it's right around the corner, the longer it becomes because the more magnified things become. So, you know, it remains to be seen.
You don't think Houston has a legit chance to upset Golden State?
That's my point, right? So things could kind of turn, right? Where Houston really finds a good rhythm. You know, the thing about Houston, they haven't really hit true adversity yet, and it will come. So you have to see how they deal with that and handle that. But they have a great team, well-balanced team, athleticism, length, and all the things that could potentially give Golden State trouble, right? So, but then again, you're still just one injury away, right? On both sides, Houston, Golden State, and you're one injury away from things being a little dicey. So.